Hello and welcome back to the colony with Man of the Antz. It's been a little while, but we are back in the Dirt 2 rally school. Driving school, I think I called it actually. No, like I say, it's been a little while. I forgot what it's even called. So there's been a bit of a delay because I was trying to get a proper list of tracks across to Kapil, Professor Kapil I should call him. Took me a little while to get it in the preferred format so you could actually see all the actual useful information. But here we are. So what did Kapil say this time? He said, I handled the Audi well, and my driving style improved over time. He has pointed out the one thing I do struggle with, and I know that I'm not very good at, is downshifting. He said I must work the gears with the brakes. The harder you brake, the more you need to be ready in the lower gears to exit the corner as fast as possible. That is something I do struggle with, trying to figure out what gear I need to be in as I go around the corner, because you can't really change gear as you're cornering, because then you have to press the clutch in and you lose grip, and it makes it a lot harder to control the car, I find at least. I'm assuming that is correct. So I try to be in the right gear as I go before I start cornering. But yeah, I do know that that's something I need to work on a little bit. And today we're going to be going to Chandler's Creek in Australia. He's picked Australia because I'm going to be going there in a few weeks, which is very thoughtful of him. We're going to be driving the Renault 5 Turbo in the daytime, but we have to be using the God arm technique, which we practiced previously, which was driving with one hand permanently on the steering wheel and one hand permanently on the gear shift. So he said it's 14. There it is, the Renault 5 Turbo, so that's what we're going to be using. We'll take a quick look at the liveries. Kind of like that green. We're going to go with the green, I think. And what else did he say? Did he say anything else? Oh, he said that the car will be very tail happy, so I may need to steer with my feet. He asked if I could figure out what that means, but I already know what that means. That's when a car is power sliding. If you accelerate, it will kind of steer the car more or oversteer the car more, and braking should help control it. So I do know what steering with your feet means. Whether I can pull it off, though, is a different thing entirely. So, usual format, we will have a go at doing a relatively gentle run, seeing how far we get through. Oh, hold on. I'm going to need to restart that because I do need to set my... That's a bit better. Right, let's restart that. I just need to get my VR position set up appropriately. I was a little bit too quick off the block to hit the handbrake button to start the countdown. So, right, that seems good. Let's do this. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. 50. Okay. 6 left, 30, turn square right. So into 3 left long. Yeah, that right. I was not paying any attention whatsoever. Fantastic start. Opens of a crest. Is it because I'm in second? Just doesn't want to start. Into 3 left long. That's very weird. Okay. Into 5 right long. Does it not start after stalls? Because that could be a problem for me. I do like my stalls. So the second corner we messed up on pretty badly. Cost us probably about 30 seconds. Into 4 left, don't cut. Into 3 right. And my steering wheel is apparently a little loose because it keeps dipping down, so the wheel keeps kind of angling towards my belly rather than facing up where I'd expect it to be. To tarmac, 5 left long. Oh, there's a bit of tarmac, is there? 80. Gravel, flat middle of a jump, 80. Oh, there, I was going to say, I didn't think that was much of a jump, but there's the jump. That's a bit more of a jump. Left long, tightens, 30. Well, we rolled it, and we successfully, Oh, try that again. There we go. Crest, a jump through narrow gate. So it does start after stall, and I'm not sure why it didn't start previously, but there it is. Opens. So this is a bit of a longer course. As you can see, we're not even hit just hit the first split of many. So it may take me a little while to try and get my head around the course. And I've just realised I'm actually not doing the God arm technique. Phil would be very angry. Obviously you can't see, so you do have to take it on faith. But I don't want to cheat, because what's the point then, right? I'll try to adjust the hand on the wheel to try and get it into a easier position where I can steer with one hand. Hello, gate. Caught me off guard. Into 2 left tightens. Oh, and then that happened.
Into 3 right, tight long.
2 left,
30,
left, left.
5 left.
Oh, it does like... It is a little bit tail happy, isn't it? Do need to tighten up this steering wheel because that's going to drive me mental. I'll do that after the first run though.
30, 4 right long. Opens into 6 left. Opens of a crest.
Now obviously our time is going to be abysmal for this because we had that really bad...
6 right of a crest.
Oh my word, this is going to be very bad, I think. Oh, there must be something behind me. Oh, there's a tree in my rear view mirror, look. I can see it now.
Into 3 left.
We might not even make it through the course at this rate. Might destroy the car before then. Oh, and again, I immediately went to put my hand on the wheel. As soon as I saw there was a 3 coming, I was like, oh, need a bit more control.
Crest. Into 4 left long. Into 4 right long. Opens.
So I might find that there's actually a little bit of a... Oh dear. Oh dear. I might find there's actually a little bit of a performance increase.
Into 4 left. Tightens of a crest.
This looks familiar. No, it doesn't. I'm lying. Oh. Oh, maybe I'm not lying.
Into 5 right.
Maybe. Oh no, that is different. Yeah, it just looks similar to a previous track. So I might find there's a little bit of a performance increase. I realised the other day that I've been running my graphics card in 8 times PCIe mode rather than the full 16. That doesn't normally make a vast amount of difference. When you're recording though, and I do use the NVIDIA encoder, so I'm using the graphics card to encode the recording as I'm playing games, which should be fine with the 1080 that I have, but that does mean that it needs to be running as fast as it possibly can, and I apparently have not been doing that. The reason I've not been doing that is because there are 2 SATA M2 ports on my motherboard. There's an M2.1 and an M2.2, obviously they're named appropriately. If you use M2.2, it drops the graphics card slot down to ×8 because it uses the PCI lanes itself, whereas the M2.1 slot is directly plugged into the CPU channels. Now, I didn't even think to check, and the reason I didn't think to check when I set my PC up is because it's an Asus motherboard and one of the M2 slots comes with a heatsink pre-attached. Now, you have a guess at what slot it was came pre-attached with the heatsink. That's right, M2.2. For some insane reason... Oh, I actually didn't manage to stall it, and then I just did it at the very end. For some insane reason, Asus thought the best thing they could do would be to put the heatsink on the slot that really you shouldn't be using unless you really need another M2 in there. Because that's how I found it. I was going to try and pick up another M2 in the Black Friday sales. And then I found someone saying, oh, you're probably better off just running a standard SSD rather than another M2 because it'll drop your PCI slots on your graphics card. So mental. So it may find that we have a little performance increase in Dirt 2, which doesn't have massive performance issues, but it does occasionally have some, and in other games as well. So that'll be nice, getting the most out of the money that I spent on the graphics card. Not ideal that we weren't getting that to start with, of course, but there we go. Trying to brake in time.
Left of a crest. Into 4 right. Opens of a crest.
That wasn't particularly smooth, but we got around it, I suppose. What more could you ask for, right?
Into 3 left, tightens 2.
Now, I don't think I'll be driving when I go to Australia, just because we're going to go to Melbourne, where my wife's family is. She's got her brothers out there.
Into 4 right long.
So I imagine we'll probably just stay in around Melbourne, and obviously he'll be driving us around a little bit where he can. There will be a lot of us, we probably won't be able to do full trips, but well, saying that, he does have some other Australian family out there, so maybe they'll bring their own car. So we're not planning on hiring a car, so I probably won't get to do a driving. I almost certainly won't get to go herring around the Australian Outback in a Renault 5 Turbo, testing out my rally skills. Oh! Which is lucky, because that really shows off perfectly the level of my rally skills, doesn't it?
50, 6 right long.
So we are about, what, maybe 3/4, 4/5 of the way through the course, pretty much. We're up to 7.5
Into
minutes.
5 right. 80. Middle of a crest, tarmac.
Oh
Slow
dear.
30
Oh
times
dear.
left.
Oh dear. Really needs to be in reverse. Right. So it is a long course. I don't really...
80.
Square left. I heard him say that.
Flat middle of a crest.
And a
30.
stall. Yeah, I don't know if I'll do many practice runs.
Into flat right. 80 of a grid.
Just because of the time it's going to take to do them. And also...
To 6 left.
Although the idea is that I get better as I progress, because I am doing the God arm technique,
Tightens of a crest. 30.
and I did say brake earlier when I was talking about steering with the feet. I didn't mean brake, I meant just taking your foot off the accelerator. I don't think you'd really want to be braking necessarily while you're drifting, but taking your foot off the accelerator or accelerating a bit more to control
Take it easy.
the back end. Wow, he seemed really concerned with that, didn't he? It's more what I meant.
30 over bumps.
Oh my word. So, as he said, our engine light is on. Although I can't see it, so I think he's a liar. Unless they didn't model that into the game. But it means our car is not far off
Into 5 left.
having enough and giving up the ghost. But we are in the last sector, so hopefully we'll be okay.
Crest.
So, yeah, so what I think I'll probably do is I'll probably have just a couple of attempts at trying to get through it in a smoother
Crest into 6
fashion.
long. 50.
I don't know if I'll be able to get to the point where I learn the whole course before I bring you guys back in like I normally like to, just because it is quite long.
Crest 50.
But hopefully I'll have some form of an idea about it. Like I say, the arm pump issue, so having arm strain where I'm trying to grip the wheel to control it, because I do tend to grip the wheel quite tight, probably tighter than I need, and it does get quite painful.
150.
And I try not to, but then the force feedback kicks in and you'd feel like you don't really have many options. So yeah, probably just have a couple of attempts to try and get myself up to speed a little bit. And then we'll come in and we'll just have... Maybe we'll sort of set ourselves a limit of doing 2 attempts. Maybe I'll have like one mulligan that I can use, and after that we'll just do a 1 full run regardless. And as long as we can do better than 9:43, which hopefully should be relatively easy, shouldn't it? What should we aim for? We probably lost about 30 seconds in that first stall where we couldn't get it started again. We had to reset ourselves a couple of times, I think, once or twice, which is probably another 10 seconds. I reckon we could probably knock a minute off that. Maybe even if we could get into 8.5, I'd be happy. It's a 7-mile track, I think. So that's still a little over a minute per mile, which isn't bad, really, is it? That's 60 miles an hour on average. But yeah, so I'll have a couple of attempts at getting around the track and learning it a bit more. I will use 2 hands during my practice runs, just because it's more about me learning the course and learning how to control the car. But then when we come back to it, I will definitely try to remember to go back to doing 1 arm. I'll try to remember to mention it. If I don't mention it, it might mean that I've completely forgotten, and Capilla's free to call me out on it, so we will see. Alright then, so I'll see you in a moment.
Into 3 left long, opens of a crest. Into 5 right long, tightens 2. Into 6 right of a crest. Into 4 left of a crest. 30. 5 left of a crest. Into 4 right. Into 5 right. 80.
Okay.
Of a bumps, 4 left of a crest.
Alright then.
Into 3 left long, tightens. Tightens 2. Opens of a crest. Into 4 left. Into 3 right, tight long. 30, 5 left. Opens to 6 left.
Nope.
Straight of a junction. Into 4 left. Into 5 left.
Nope,
5
so
right.
daisy.
Into 5 right, 80. Middle of a
Oop,
crest,
oop.
back, slow 30, turn square left. 30 over bumps, 4 left of a crest.
Alright then, so I've had a few runs at it. I haven't actually managed to finish a run in maybe 4 or 5 attempts. Been plagued by punctures. How I got through that first attempt, the first time without a puncture, I have no idea. Because since then, punctures all the way, generally either on sharpish turns where there's a fence on the outside and I tend to slam into that fence if I'm not paying attention, puncture the tyre. So, been a bit of a problem. What I thought I would do is jump straight back in and actually try and just do a proper run, because it's going to take me 700 years to do 2 runs, I think, without getting a puncture, particularly at a relatively decent time. Or speed, I should say. Now, I think aiming for 8.5 might be a little excessive. The best run I had last time, I was about a minute and a half under, but it was a very good run with very few stalls or issues, and I still managed to puncture it by being a little bit too flamboyant towards the end. So I think we need to temper our expectations. If I can beat my time by a minute, which was what, 9... I've forgotten my time now, 9 something, wasn't it? If I can get about a minute under, so if I can aim for about 8:40, I think it's going to be, I'll be happy with that. If I can get through again without getting a puncture, I'll be even happier. And all of these punctures and these better times, of course, that time was a minute and a half under.
6 left 30, turn
One of the
square
major
right.
differences between that and this is that I was using both hands to steer. I don't have that anymore. My right arm is starting to feel a little fatigued already. And if this takes me another 4 or 5 attempts to do, it could be that we're doing this for a while, and my arm will be absolutely dead by the end of it.
Left 30, turn square right.
So, we're going to do a lot better at this first corner, which we messed up massively the first time. Not much better. That could have been a little bit tighter, but there we go. Oh, I was using 2 hands on that as well. I literally just mentioned it and I completely forgot. So,
Into 4 left.
we're back to the God arm technique, as Professor Capilla is calling it. So most of this first section is relatively nice,
Right tightens.
as in there's nothing too
Into 5
horrible.
left long, tightens 4.
It's all 4s and 5s, occasional 3s.
Right of a crest long.
So we won't get out of 4th gear at the moment. In fact, we're going to drop it down to 3rd there. I'm really concerned about trying to do this without 2 hands.
Middle of a jump.
So we should get up to 5th before this jump, apart from we'll miss 5th. And we're going to drop it down to 4th again to try and get around this corner, but we've massively oversteered it. But that's okay, because we didn't stall. And we didn't flip it by hitting the outside bank, which is something I've
4 right long,
done once or twice.
opens 80.
Oh, that was bad, though. Was it not in? It wasn't in gear. Okay, right, let's start that again, shall we? Terrible. But this time.
50.
Nope.
6
Ah, you clown.
5 right long, tightens 2. Opens of a crest.
Oh, that felt nice. That didn't. So the last few attempts, now that I'm actually trying to do it on recording, talking my way through and everything, have been some of my worst starts so far.
6 left 30, turns
Which is just great.
into 3 left long, opens of a crest.
Probably something to do with the fact that 1, I'm talking, and 2, it's the one-armed technique
Crest.
coming to bite us in the ass. So maybe we'll try and take it a little bit easier. Maybe we'll say if we can get into the... Well, that's bad. That's bad. Get off of there. Not done that before.
Left, don't cut.
Maybe if we just say if we can get into like
3 right,
under
tightens.
9 minutes.
Into 5 left long.
I'm lowering expectations every time. But if I can get under 9 minutes, I think I'll be
4 right
quite
of a crest
happy.
long, tightens.
As I mentioned it a few times, but the longer it goes on, the more my arm's going to be dead by the end of this.
Gravel. Flat middle of a jump. 80.
I do wish it gave you
3 right long.
the split on your best time as well. Oh, see, I was looking at my gears and just lost everything.
Narrow gate. Into 4 right long.
Because there's a split coming up just here, and I know that
Opens.
I can get about 34 seconds under on my first time, but I don't know what that is compared to...
50.
Oh, that was bad. Hello. Hello. There we go.
6 right. 80.
So that's not ideal. Normally at this bit I'm in 5th gear pretty much the whole way through till the very end, where we
Right of a long crest,
tend to have to drop it down just to
left long, tightens of a
yeah, see,
crest.
in my practice runs, I was quite enjoying this section because it's relatively fast, no horrible corners,
Into caution, 5
and it's
right of a crest,
bumpy and sort of exciting.
tightens narrow.
I tell you what though,
Into 6 right.
doing it one-handed, having to try control this wheel that's jerking all over the place,
Into 3 right, tight long, 30, 5 left.
it is much less enjoyable. Much less enjoyable. I'm trying to reposition my hand on the wheel to find a more comfortable place to hold it, but it is not easy.
Middle of a jump, 30,
So I haven't managed to learn the course, which I kind of said I probably wouldn't be able to do anyway. What I have done is learned sort of sections, really. So I knew that section before, like I say.
cut. Into 6 right of a crest.
Oh, and I know that, is it this section that's...
3 left,
No, it's not this section. There's one section where there's like
5 right long of a
3
crest.
very tight corners in a row.
Into 5 left, 30, crest, into 4 left long,
Okay. So obviously we're behind the leader. I don't even know, that's probably not even the leader's time, is it? It's just,
straight of a junction,
hope that sign wasn't important.
left, tightens of a crest,
Oh, come on. We did it without stalling, but it would probably have been quicker for us to just recover the vehicle, wouldn't it?
right,
It took a little bit of time off of us.
6 left, 30, keep left of a jump into 6 right, 30,
So what I haven't
middle
found,
of a crest, into 3 right.
he's always so aggressive when he says that there. And then
Into 5 left,
back into normal speak again. It's so weird.
5 right,
Yeah, what I haven't found is I've had to do a lot of steering with the accelerator, like Professor Kapil suggested I might. There's a little bit,
5 right of a crest,
but there's not many sort of long, flowing, open corners where I'm able to sort of
30,
fling the back end around and really sort
into
of
1 left,
just enjoy myself.
into 2 right.
He said
long,
one.
tighten a square,
This
right
is
of a
the
crest.
section of tight ones. There's a 1, then there's a 2 which tightens to square, and then there's a 1 which tightens. More than one little snadgery section.
Flat right of a crest,
So when I was using 2 arms, I did actually find myself quite enjoying this course. It is awkward and technical, and
left of a crest,
there are some very fast bits with some very small corners, but sort of lefts and rights and left and just sort of going all over the place.
60,
But I quite enjoy the course, to be honest. I didn't think I would.
into 5 left of a crest, very long tightens,
But yeah, the one-armed thing, I know it's obviously good. It gives me much more response on the gears than I had previously, which is nice. It's obviously good for just training myself when I'm gonna need to be. I'm trying not to.
into 4 left of a crest,
I didn't want to try. I want to try and take that one nice and easy because it's got that dip on the outside. So similar to before we had, where we ended up pretty much hanging with our rear end off the edge of the dip. I didn't want to end up in a similar situation. I have a couple of times during my practice runs as well.
left, into 5
Trying to
long
avoid that.
tightens,
See, sections like this where it's just like 5 lefts, 5 rights, and it's bumpy and it's fast. It's kind of fast and exciting, and I like it.
left, 60,
But right now,
flat of a jump,
my wrist's hurting.
100, turn, square right,
We're
tarmac,
just about.
30, 5 left of a
That's the sort of corner where I need to take it easy as possible, because if I slam into that fence,
into 3 left, tightens 2,
it will puncture a tyre, and this 5.5 minutes will have been wasted.
into 2 right long, into 3 left long of a crest, into 4 right long, into
The next one I think we have. Oh, this is the next one we have an issue with. Oh, not this one. There's one with those same red signs on.
5 left, extra long of a crest,
Didn't think it was there, but saw the red sign and got confused. It's a 4, I'm pretty sure. A 4 right.
big jump 200,
Oh, it's after this, isn't it?
tarmac, 4 right long tightens,
Not the net. Oh, is it? Yeah, it might be this one. Yeah, it is this one.
Into 3 left long, tightens.
So taking that relatively easy. We don't want to make any mistakes there and puncture our tyres.
6 right of
And then there's another corner which is a
6 right long.
4 right. With fence on the outside, not with the red
Crest, tightens.
posters, but with fence on the outside. And on that one I have
Middle of a crest.
I have previously there sent myself spinning.
Square left.
But yeah, that fence again. And the last one, it's just as we're about to start the last sector.
Flat. Middle of a crest. 30.
Well, that wasn't great. Just as we're about to start the last sector, there's a
Into flat right. 80 of a grid.
square right. Oh my word.
Right long, tightens.
This 4 right
6
tightens.
left of a crest.
And that's why it catches me out, because it tightens as well. So we'll try and take it nice and easy around there.
30.
And that was not so bad, usually, because you've got that kind of passing space on the left there. So normally you can kind of slide through that, but I missed it.
Gravel. 3 right long.
But we're doing okay. We've got through a lot of it. So we're about to start the last sector, which means...
30 turn square right.
There it is, the square right. This is the other one which has caught me out. And I just find myself smashing face first into the fence on the left. Giving myself a nasty puncture. And I tried running with the punctures to see if I can get to the end, because I have finished or ended my run around there and got a puncture a couple of times.
Of a grid. Into 5 left.
And like, if I can just get over the end, it'll be fine. And it does seem to have some quite nice puncture physics, I guess, where it runs okay to, especially if it's a rear puncture. If it's a front puncture, job's done. Start again. Rear puncture, you can run okay for about 30 seconds, and then you start hearing it running on the rim rather than the punctured tyre.
Of a crest.
And that's when you find that, yeah, you just start losing all control of the car and
Crest.
all speed as well. I found that I was in 5th, going slightly slower than I'd like to.
150. Over grid. Over finish.
Oh, damn it. Oh, damn it. Oh, why wouldn't it turn? I must have punctured it. Yeah, I did puncture. You can hear the puncture in the back there. That's a little unfortunate. We could have got 8-4. Oh, look at the state of that. Wow. Well, we weren't last. And if it wasn't for that last corner, that last grid even, we would have been 18th at the very least. I don't know if we would have saved 10 seconds. Maybe we would have. That little bit of extra momentum. We could have maybe got up to 16th. But to be honest, it's not brilliant, but I'm kind of happy with that. And also, my hand is basically numb. So I don't want to go... Oh, that first bit was a farce. I was right the first time. It was a farce, that first bit. There are some really nice corners in there where I felt really good. So yeah, interesting. Really enjoyed the course. Didn't enjoy doing the course one-handed. But it's all good practice. And I haven't played for a while either, because I've been waiting to get my Listicker pill. So any sort of strength maybe I did build up, and sort of muscle strength, I maybe lost a little bit. Maybe I've been wasting away. That looked cool. Don't think it was fast, but it looked cool. But yeah, the car definitely, you can't, what I found with the car, I didn't mention it during the race, so I found that if you steer sharply, so previously I've been getting used to kind of steering and sort of flinging the car into corners a little bit to kick the back end out so I can power slide around. In this course I found, or with this car I found, if I did that, there we go, wonderful. If I did that, it would just spin itself out of control almost immediately. So you really got to let the back end come around naturally, and then, as Kapil said, a little bit control with the accelerator, but I think I was probably a little bit too slow and gentle around the corners to really have that kick in too much. But we beat our initial time by about a minute, which is pretty good, I think. We didn't manage to get through a whole run again without getting a puncture, but we did manage to get through again, which is something. That's that too, isn't it? Yeah. So yeah, enjoyed the course. I enjoyed the car. I'd like to see the car maybe on a different course to see how it feels on something which is a little bit less finicky, a little bit less like left and right, left and right, and left and right, a bit more open and flow and be quite nice. But yeah, enjoyed Australia. It's a beautiful, beautiful place to drive through. I don't think I'll be seeing much of the Outback whilst I'm over there over Christmas, but I do enjoy the Australian rally courses. They're fun and bumpy and dusty. Awesome stuff. Well, there we go then. Hope you enjoyed that. If you did enjoy that, do click the like button. It's hugely appreciated. Subscribe to the channel if you've not already. Questions and comments down below. As I said, I'm away to Australia in the middle of December, so I think we've got 2 more streams left. So come along if you can and say hello there. And then we'll be back to streaming after the new year. And during the Christmas period from middle of December to January, there will be probably reduced videos at the very least. Well, there's a few of them. Oh, that's a sign that come off. Well, that was the main thing. If I didn't do that, let's see, it's about 3 minutes when I stopped. Let's just see how long it takes us to get. Yeah, about 8 seconds. So including the actual probably going off the edge, probably about 10 seconds that cost us. So if we didn't do that and we didn't do the end puncture on that gate, we would have probably been around 8:30, so definite room for improvement and some obvious mistakes we could clear up. And then we're only 30 seconds behind the leader, which I don't think is too bad on a 7-mile course. Awesome. Like I say, like, comment, subscribe, all those good things. Hopefully I will see you at the stream. If I don't, I will see you next time in Dirt Rally 2's driving school with Professor Kapil. And as always, thank you very much for joining me.